Good morning, Chris Clarke. Thanks for joining us here at Yellow Shelf.
Thank you, Joe. Thanks for the opportunity, of course.
Yeah, look, thank you for saying yes. You are based in Sydney, Australia. Your podcast, the Sydney Property Muppets, is
Yes.
a pretty funny yet insightful podcast about the property market. Chris, you are a buyer's agent, which I'm sure you can
Mhm.
tell me exactly what a buyer's agent is in a moment.
All right.
But congratulations. Thanks for being here.
Absolute pleasure. Yeah, no, really enjoying. We just cracked our 1 year anniversary on the
Yeah,
Sydney Property Muppets, which was amazing.
yeah. That's a
Um,
big deal, Chris.
yeah, well, most podcasting last 10 to, and I think less than sort of 1% go more than 20 episodes. We're up to
Yeah,
52. So that's
yeah.
above that.
Yeah, and look, it goes without saying, congrats. You've got this weekly podcast. You've shipped over like 52 episodes now. I think.
Yep. Yep.
So there's plenty to dive into. But Chris, let's start off with what do we need to know about the podcast? What's it about?
Okay, so what's it about? Well, it's myself. So I'm a buyer's agent, so helping people buy property.
Yeah.
There's Kurt, who's the fellow co-host, a
Yes.
co-host. So he's a real estate agent. Um, he's at a younger age than me. I've got a few grey hairs, but we've both sort of been in specifically in our real estate careers for 3+ years. So we're still sort of feeling out and learning what's going on in the market and how to operate.
Yes.
So we came together to design something and said, look, let's do short 5-10 minute episodes. We talk about a different topic, always really specific to Sydney and the property market, to give people insight if they're buying, selling, or investing, but also just morbid. People got curiosity of Sydney. I spoke to you earlier about Sydney's always up there as a top 10, expensive place in the world to live. People have got that curiosity to find out, well, why is that?
Yeah. And Chris, look, it is fair to say, right now in my life, I'm not looking for property, but the nice thing about your podcast is that doesn't really matter. It's really informative, it's kind of funny, and you guys just bring stuff together that maybe I wish I knew when I was actually looking for property. So tell me about that process. You co-host Kurt, I guess you put shows together. What's that like? How do you put your heads together?
So we meet on a fortnightly basis to record like 2 episodes at a time. We're typically in between episodes continuously spitballing on ideas. The idea being that the episodes we record go live that day or maybe the week later. So they're all about topics that we are genuinely seeing occur. So whether is there lots of change with auctions at the moment? Are people struggling with investment properties? Is there new rental reforms? Even just certain behaviors we're seeing from buyers and sellers. So we really, we're usually about an hour before the night before, just talking to each other, spitballing. Okay, what are we going to do? Sort of come up with the forms of it, and then effectively get straight into it like a band-aid. We start the episode pretty much when we get together, and we go through those topics. And then at the end of each episode, you probably heard we do like 3 quick cues or something fun as a topic. We figure, look, got to lighten the mood and make it enjoyable for us from start to finish, hopefully as well.
Yeah, well, you definitely do that. You guys certainly banter through some Q&A. Chris, tell me about yourself and your buyer's agent journey. Can you tell me what a buyer's agent is? Because I guess the reason I ask is I feel like I didn't ever know that term when I brought property a long time ago, but you see it on reality TV, buyer's agent. So
Yep.
what's that about?
Well, it's and your platform, obviously, globally speaking. So buyer's agent globally can mean very sort of
Um,
similar things, but different things. Like in the US, it's just been reformed. So
okay.
what a buyer's agent does is we work for clients who are looking to buy property, whether that's investment or their first home or baby boomers who are downsizing. And we basically go out and find options for them that are on market or they can't see or off market, and we hold their hand through do all the due diligence and do negotiations fronts.
Okay.
As I was saying, so lots of markets, and they're like, we get paid by our clients. We're sort of like Switzerland. We're not,
Yes.
well, we're in their favor, but in the US, they just have reform. So previously, the seller would pay the real estate agent and pay the buyer's agent's commission.
Okay.
They've just changed that and said no, they no longer have to. They can if they choose to.
Yes.
The real estate agent can split their fee, but they don't have to. So there's going to be a bit of a change in terms of that market over there to more closely align itself to what we do here.
Yeah, right. Good to clear that up because, like you said, yeah, it means different things in different places. So Chris, tell us about your background. Like you have you always been in real estate buyers agent land? Like what do we need to know about Chris?
No, look, Chris started off as a school teacher 25 years ago.
Oh.
Yeah, PE and health, wore the short shorts and had the whistle. Um, decided that wasn't for me. I love
Yeah,
kids and I love teaching, but I probably didn't like all the extra sort of hard yards of nightly assignment checking and so
sure.
forth. So joined the world of recruitment. Actually joined a company called Michael Page, which is
Oh
a
yes, yep,
London-based recruitment firm, and had a career there over 12 years. I started in Melbourne,
yep.
I did some time in Sydney, then spent 4 years in Singapore,
Oh,
and
great.
then spent the last 2, 3 years back here in Sydney. And then my brother's a buyer's agent in Brisbane, and I was looking to do something different. And he said, "You can do this." And I said, "No, I can't." And he said, "No, you can." And the rest is pretty much history. That was the best conversation, one of the most memorable conversations in terms of a fork in the road and really changing where things went to for me from there.
That's fast. And that's why I love that question because more and more people I talk to who host podcasts or authors, they have this journey of like not linear. It's like, and it's great. It makes us who we are, doesn't it, Chris?
Oh, it definitely does. And I think in real estate, like it's an element of there's a lot of people who are both buyers and real estate agents who have been so since they've been 18 or 20.
Sure.
And that nothing at all wrong with that. But I think coming new blood coming in from different corporate experiences, I leverage a lot of those ethical, a lot of those processes, a lot of the ad nauseum sort of training we went through to
Yes.
hopefully provide something a bit different for clients and hopefully elevate the industry.
Yeah. Ah, that's so true. And Chris, I mean, I watch you guys on YouTube because I like to kind of,
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
I'm working and I'm watching and I'm laughing and you guys kind of banter through the conversations. But what's the best way to connect with you? I'll put this in the show notes when I put this filming up. Where do we go to if we're curious about the pod or where do we, yeah, where
So best place to start is either on YouTube, so Sydney Property Muppets. You can quickly find us there. I don't think many people are typing that in their
not
search
yet.
bar.
Yeah.
Not yet. Hopefully, well, it means it's easy to find in terms of the naming is something unique.
Yeah.
And on and Spotify, and we're about to go on Apple Podcasts as well. So now we're in our second year evolution. Now we're investing a bit more in the podcast. It's at the moment it's one camera on our podcast. We're
Yeah.
looking at doing going to
Okay.
studio doing two or three. So that'll be the evolution in the second year.
Yeah. Look, from my perspective, one camera works because you guys just sit, at a table. It's great. So,
Yeah, maybe we might just dabble in. We're not sure. We sort of feel
yeah,
like a bit more interactive, but yeah, appreciate that.
you'll know where to evolve to. No, that's great. And yeah, you know what? I will be cheeky and say that I felt like I wanted to message you guys, which I might do now, and give you suggestions on things I wanted you to talk about. Is that something that you're open to from audience? Because it was
Absolutely.
cool about this.
Absolutely. Quite often, and we don't probably, quite often the show notes and even in the first comment on YouTube, we put, please provide comments. And that's been, provide topics. That's
Yeah.
been useful. Like one in particular is something in Sydney called a 66W, which is
Yeah.
basically means you're waiving your cooling and finance clause.
Hmm.
We had someone say, "What you've talked about this 60W, what is that?" And we did a whole episode on that,
Yeah.
relevant to that comment to sort of go, well, yeah, we know what it is because we're in the
Yes.
industry, but we forget sometimes that people entering or from outside of Sydney, because it's only a New South Wales
Yeah.
term, they
Yeah.
just wouldn't know what it is. And it can be quite
Yeah.
scary to go, 66W, it sounds like I'm going to be enrolled into the army.
It does, doesn't it? And then, like we said from the get-go, this is informative, but it's also entertaining. So I'd recommend anyone to take a listen who's curious. Chris, thank you so much for joining us today.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you, Joe.
Cheers.
Yes.